is the library report. Greg, want to do it?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Usually the library does not report to the Council because it's a completely independent, separate organization, but we've been asked to do so just for your own information. So we prepared a 2-hour report, but we have been asked to cut it down to 5 minutes or less.
Or else?
Or less.
Or less.
So the Hamtramck Library is under the direction of Tamara Sohanska. She has been a director of the library for the last 28 years.
Wow.
She is the longest serving director in the history of the library right now. Now, just for your information, there are 4 different laws that set up libraries in Michigan. The first one is the district libraries, which comprise of more than one territory or city or township or school district, and these are funded by the taxpayers, and all the board members are elected, so they're totally autonomous. The second set of laws sets up county libraries, which are funded by the county and governed by the county. The third set of laws, that's Act 164 under our library set up, are municipal libraries, which are funded by the taxpayers of the city. They are it's governed by a library board which is appointed by the mayor. However, the policies, the programs, and everything that the library board does is totally autonomous. So the libraries are independent, and that has been done to minimize the political connection between elected officials and the services of the library. And the fourth type of laws sets up department libraries. Department libraries are set up usually by the city, and they are funded by the city, and they are governed by the city. So we are part of the municipal libraries, which are under the mayors. The appointment of directors is by the mayor. However, they are totally autonomous from the political direction of the city. Then there are levels of libraries, and these levels are basically set up by the number of people they serve and the type of services they provide. When the current director took over, the Hamtramck Library is a Class 4 library. There are 7 classes, so we're in the middle. Over the years, the level of the library has increased to level 5 library because we service more people now and provide more services than years ago. Years ago, when Tamara became a director, there were 2 computers for the public, and they were at 64K internet speed. Currently, there's 41 computers, and they are anywhere from 100 meg to a gig speed. So there is a big difference. And also, as far as the usage of the library, it has shifted a lot from the books and magazines to electronics, especially after COVID. Most of the students who used to crowd the library, like sometimes 200 students were there after school. Right now they have computers, they can connect to the library on their computers and utilize the services like Canopy, Overdrive, or Hoopla, and so on. So it's an electronic connection, less visitors, physical visitors, but more users when it comes to that. The library board, those are the 5 people that govern the library. Now they have complete control over the library finances, policies, services, and so on. Now the president of the library board is Mr. Bittner. He's a local businessman. Kathy Christie, she's in finances. She is currently the treasurer of the library. Then Sandra Jabril is currently serving as a secretary of the library. Mr. George Gorday, he is the vice president of the library. He's an engineer. And Mr. Dombrowski is a retired librarian, thanks to whom we are getting state aid, because in order to get state aid, we need to have 2 librarians in the library. And the only librarians in the library currently is Tamara Sochacka. She's a class 1 librarian, which is the highest level from the 7 levels. And Mr. Dombrowski, who is a class 2 librarian. And he's doing it part-time. Now, the library also has staff, which comprises of 1 full-time employee, who is the library clerk, and 4 part-time employees. So there isn't much staff in the library. Now, how is the library funded? The library, most of the funds come in from the millage, which is a permanent millage, 1.8 mils. Now, we also get the state aid, we get the county penal fines, we get individual donations, corporate donations, and recently, thanks to the city manager, we are getting interest on the money in the bank. For many, many years, at least for 20-some years, the city would hold on to the money that it collects for the library, and we would never get the interest. And thanks to Mr. Garbarino, he changed that policy, so the money that belongs to the library is earning interest as well. And it's a considerable amount because it's about $20,000 a year. Now, we also get some federal grants, state grants, and county grants. This is the breakdown. So most of the money is from the millage, and then the green part, the large green part, are the grants, and the other parts are the state aid, county penal fines, interest, and donations. Then how are the expenses? Most of the expenses of the library are for the payrolls, for the salaries and wages. And then we also have a large expense for the library network, to which we belong now. Being part of the library network gives us access to all the books in the network. The library has about 70,000 books on hand, but if we don't have some book that is not in the library, we can get it within 2 or 3 days by contacting the library that has that book, and it is being shipped to us, and the patron can receive it. Now, again, we have the internet connection that is available to all these patrons who do not have computers. And also, we have those digital services like Canopy, Hoopla, and Overdrive. Now, some of the other parts of the expenditures are the maintenance of the building, the utilities, programs and activities, equipment and furniture, and capital expense. Our biggest capital expense occurred in the 23-24 year, when we needed to replace the air conditioning system, which was originally installed in 1956. So it died completely, and because of the type of system that was installed, you can no longer repair those systems. We had to change completely and install a system on the roof. However, it is connected to the ventilation system that is still in the basement, so we don't have any noise in the library. The noise is reduced. And basically, this is the way the expenses are split up. The payrolls is the biggest part, then the benefits for the employees, and then the expenditures on the top left for the library. Now, the library board controls all library finances. The library provides reports on their finances to the city controller on monthly basis, and the city maintains records of all financial transactions. Now, this is something that is done by agreement between the library and the city. Some libraries do not utilize the services of the city. We have been. This is the option that we do have. We have an excellent cooperation with the city, and especially since Max Gerber came in, he has really been a great person, great supporter of the library. Now also, one of the biggest reports that we have to do is the annual financial report that we file with the state of Michigan, and specifically the Library of Michigan. And this is a very extensive report, it has 15 parts, and it's 32 pages with print that you have to use a magnifying glass to read, basically. That is done once a year. Now, the programs in the library are, there's a large variety of programs. Probably right now the biggest, the most attended programs are the ESL classes, which currently are held 4 times a day, 2 classes, 4 times a week, 2 classes a day. And there is about 40 to 50 people that participate in the ESL programs. And then we also have the computer lab, the summer reading program for children, story times for children. Then we have official city programs like inauguration and others. We have people that come in for court-appointed, let's say, if they have to be in court, a lot of times the court dates are on the internet. So these people come into the library to be in court, basically. And we have art displays, we have poetry readings, we have book signings and evenings with authors, displays and presentations, community meetings and town halls, and a lot more. It would take a long time to sort of mention all of those. Children are probably some of the biggest users of the library. Now, I have to mention at this point Mrs. Myrick. Mrs. Myrick has been, she was in the, very active in the African American community. She also worked for the city during her work years, but afterwards she devoted a lot of time to the library, and she was the one who was pretty much in charge behind all the African American History Month programs, and they were really nicely organized by her. She passed away a couple of years ago, but she was one of the longest serving library director board members in history. Now, one of the things that are first in the Hamtramck is the organization or setup of TV broadcasting company. This is the first one the city ever had, and that's the Hamtramck Public TV, which was set up and organized through a grant that the library applied for and received. And currently, for instance, we have been filming for the last 2.5 years all the council meetings. So that is a permanent record right now. We have been filming a lot of the programs that happen in the city. We have inaugurations of the city government ever since, I think, well, at least since 2000. So a lot of these programs have historical significance. We have a lot of meetings, evenings with authors. Probably the most prominent author was Hemingway. That's Valerie Hemingway. She was the daughter-in-law of Ernest Hemingway. And when she came to the library, we had about 400 people come to see her. So she is the most prominent visitor when it comes to authors. And in conclusion, just wanted to say that I think I stated most of the facts about it, but the library building itself is about 12,000 square feet, which isn't a very big building. We have 2 parking lots, and the funding for the library which comes from the residents, 1.8 mils, comes out to about 33 cents per person, per resident in Hamtramck per week. So comparing to all the other expenses, it is not very much. It is one of the most efficient departments or organizations in the library, in the city of Hamtramck. And I guess, well, we would like to thank the city manager for the great cooperation that we have set up and for his continued support of the library.
You're 10 minutes past your deadline.
Oh, is it?
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much.